As someone that's been using MacBooks for a better part of my life, what do I think of this Galaxy Book 5 Pro? Well, damn. By the way, this video is not sponsored. I'm not getting paid to say this. This is just my thoughts. Samsung did not gift this laptop to me. In fact, I have to actually send it back to them, which is a bit unfortunate because it's pretty good. So let's get started with the design. Now I have the 14-inch model here, and the build quality of this laptop is fantastic. It is all aluminum, and when you're typing on it, the screen is just as sturdy as it is on my MacBook Pro, which is fantastic. It kind of gives you that premium feel compared to those flimsy displays that, you know, shake if you even look at it the wrong way. Now, it is kind of shocking how thin and light this laptop is. It actually kind of reminds me of when Steve Jobs first unveiled the MacBook Air from long ago, but unlike the MacBook Air, this actually has a decent amount of ports. On the right side, you do get a USB-A port, which I'm actually thankful for, especially if you have USB-A thumb drives that you just cannot get rid of like I do. And right next to that one is the micro SD card slot, which is kind of odd that they didn't include like a full-size SD card, but instead a micro SD card, which now I have to actually use a dongle for, you know? Strange, but it's there. On the other side, we do have an HDMI port, which is always fantastic, as well as two USB Thunderbolt ports, and either of these two can be used for charging the laptop. However, it is kind of a letdown that Samsung did not add at least, you know, one extra USB-C port on this side, because, you know, if you're charging this laptop, one of these ports are kind of busy, obviously, which means you effectively only have one port available if you have no use for the USB-A ports, you know? So I kind of wish there was at least one more USB-C port, but, you know, I'll make do. Now, this exact model does start at $1,350, but I'm looking at Samsung's website right now, and they're offering up to $500 of savings, which effectively brings down the price to $850. Like, for $850, this laptop is more than good. Like, you would be hard-pressed to find a better one at this price range. So if you guys want, I will have a link down below that'll take you guys straight to Samsung's website, and you can check it out for yourself. Now, the battery life of this thin little beast is actually insane for what it is, but again, this does depend on how you use your own laptop. I've been using this laptop to type out my YouTube videos on, web browsing, researching, you know, YouTube and Netflix watching, stuff like that. I've been easily getting a whole day's worth of battery. But if you're doing more demanding tasks like video editing, photo editing, you can expect your battery to drop a whole lot quicker, which is to be expected. I don't think this laptop is curated for those types of users. The display on this laptop features something that first started with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, and that of course is that anti-reflective coating, which is something that I love. It truly does change the way the screen behaves in harsh lighting. The glares are minimized quite well compared to my MacBook. However, I do wish the brightness was a bit better, you know, because the brightness on the laptop for me is always maxed out, which is why I believe I'm not getting the 20+ rated hours of battery life that Samsung is claiming. It's because of the brightness. It is around 500 nits, so, you know, it's okay if you're, you know, using this laptop indoors, but like when you take it out, you're really relying on that anti-reflective display because the brightness is just okay. I wish it was better. It wasn't that long ago where I thought having a touch screen on a laptop was kind of stupid, but this one has it and I've been interacting with it, and you know what? I like it. Do I use it constantly? No, but if I'm on YouTube or something and I see a video I want to watch next, I just tap on the display and it's a whole lot faster than using a trackpad. Or if I'm using the AI Smart Select feature, using a finger is just a whole lot easier than using a trackpad. It's one of those things that's not really a necessity, but it's nice to have, and the more you play around with it, the more you kind of appreciate it. Now, speaking of the trackpad, unfortunately, it is your typical diving board style trackpad, so it's a whole lot easier to click toward the bottom, and then if you go to the top, you actually can't click on it. So the clicking kind of starts right around here, I would say. So you're missing from here to here. You're missing about that much of the trackpad where you can't really click on it. Of course, you can tap to click, but I'm more of a physical clicking kind of guy. But I don't really like the diving board style trackpad, so it's not like a haptic trackpad like on the Microsoft Surface laptops or something like the MacBook Pro. So if you're kind of already used to those trackpads, going from that to a diving board style trackpad, it may be kind of annoying at first. Can I live with it? Yeah, I've been living with it for about a month, so it's definitely doable. But again, I do prefer a haptic style trackpad, especially in this price category. Now, as far as performance goes, this does have the Intel Core Ultra 7 chip paired with 16 gigs of RAM, and my review unit came with 512 gigabytes of storage. Like I mentioned earlier, this laptop is not really meant for that ultra hardcore user out there. You know, if you're an everyday person or a student, this laptop is going to be more than enough with no issues at all, no bugs, no weird glitches. It performs good. You can push it hard sometimes. It's not just not going to do it. Of course it's going to do it, but it's just going to be a little bit slower. Now, I guess this is a good segue to fan noise. As you guys know, or at least for me personally, the biggest downside for Windows laptops out there is the fan noise. Like, why are they on 24/7? Even when you're doing nothing, it almost seems like the fans are always on. Why? What are you cooling? Now, the good news is that with this laptop, that problem is basically gone. The fans are off, and I can't hear them 99% of the time. The only time I heard the fans kick in is when I had like over 10 tabs open and a video playing in the background, which does make sense. But aside from that, this laptop has been pretty quiet. You know, as quiet as a mouse peeing on a cotton ball. Yeah, it is pretty quiet, I'm not lying. Now let's go ahead and talk about the speakers. Now, obviously you guys probably noticed there are no speaker vents anywhere on this laptop because they actually come out the back. So you have these two little slots on either side of the computer, and the speakers are pretty good, and the bass, and shockingly enough, is kind of decent. Now, don't expect it to kind of shake your room, but if you're average movie watching, YouTube binge watching at 3 a.m., we've all been there. The speakers are good. Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. I meant to say listen for yourself.
Internal combustion versus electric. And we are hitting the sports sedan benchmark. Updated and very gas-powered BMW M3.
Now, of course, since this is a Samsung laptop, if you have a Samsung phone, it kind of works together in that ecosystem, which is something I love because I also have an iPhone and a MacBook, so I'm kind of familiar with that ecosystem, and I'm also glad it's here. All in all, I'm really happy with this laptop. Like I said, if I wasn't like a content creator, I would honestly have no issues at all using this laptop. Now, is it going to be replacing my M4 Pro MacBook Pro? Obviously not, because of the massive difference in performance, but then again, this is a $2,700 computer. It'll be kind of tough to compare it to this one. But obviously, you know, using it as, you know, either a second laptop or maybe like your office laptop, something like that, it's gonna be way more than fine. So what do you guys think about the Galaxy Book 5 Pro? Let me know your comments and concerns down below. If you have any questions, let me know, because like I said, I have been using this every day, so I'm pretty familiar with it. So if there's something I didn't mention in this video that you guys want to know, again, definitely drop me your comment down below. If you're new here, consider subscribing. I always do no BS review videos. And if you guys enjoyed today's video, definitely click that like button. And as always, this was Mark from Mark's Tech. Adios.